Do you ever wish you could do a really good Boston accent? Well, I kind of wish I could, but I can't, so I'm not even going to try. But here we are in Lawrence G. Hanscom Field near Boston. We've flown down here from Canada. The last leg that I did brought us from Ottawa down here to Boston. And today is a really interesting flight, an exciting one. We're going to New York. We're going to end up in Essex County, but today's flight is literally taking us over New York, flying by the Statue of Liberty, and seeing where it takes us. Now, one caveat, I have no idea what this is going to do to the FPS. I haven't actually flown over New York in the Spitfire in P3D ever, so I don't know quite what to expect. It could be rather embarrassing, but we're going to give it a try anyway and see what happens, because this is going to be an interesting flight. If you haven't heard of the longest flight, they are literally taking a Mark 9 Spitfire. This is a Mark 2A, the A2A simulations Mark 2. Taking a Mark 9 Spitfire all around the world. Check out longestflights.com and you can see what it's all about. I made an earlier video about what they're up to. I'll put a link in the notes below. Incredible adventure, beautiful Spitfire, and at the moment I think they're in Japan. So they're a lot further ahead than I am, but hey, if it takes me a year or 2 years to complete it, I'm quite happy. It's just an interesting journey. So, without further ado and with less waffle, let's get cracking into it. So we're just cracking along now, heading towards the threshold of 1-1. Not much in the way of wind where we are. It's about 3 knots at the moment. Interesting, it's actually changed direction. So we could actually go from 0.5 here, which I think we will actually. Just doing some S-turns here to get some visibility ahead. I've turned off AI, so we shouldn't be getting much interruptions. Temperatures, we're okay. Open up the radiator a bit more. Okay, quick look around. Everything's where it should be, let's go. Slightly interesting takeoff there as the wind direction seemed to change and we got a little bit of a gusty crosswind. But it'd be boring if it was easy, eh? So there's Hanscom. Boston over there. dialing it back a little bit more now. Raise the radiator a little. Not really going to be going to any altitude as such. So really the route we're taking is we're going to head off down towards the Hamptons, flying along Long Island, turn overhead New York by the Statue of Liberty, and then head over to Essex County, which from what I can tell is kind of what they did in the real thing. So we're 21st of August using real world weather at the time. And I can't remember I wouldn't be able to look down at the clock. There we go, so it's just over 10:30 in the morning. What's that, 10:33. So for scenery we have ORBX really, it's ORBX, Global, Vector, OpenLC North America. For weather we are using Active Sky for P3D with ASCA and Rex Skyforce 3D, and we've also got Rex Environment Force in play as well, with PTA also doing some magic in the background. Just having a look at those temperatures. We did get a little bit hot just after takeoff. The taxi from the dispersal to the runway wasn't too far really, but it doesn't take much to get hot in these things. But the temperature's coming down, so happy with that. Still got the radiator open a fair bit just to counter that. So yeah, exciting stuff heading to New York, and also heading into what could be FPS death, but we'll find out. I think if anything for me, this whole trip kind of highlights what's really interesting about flight simulation like this, is that you can literally take a Spitfire and you can fly around the world on the sim. That's pretty incredible really when you think about it. With scenery that is not bad and geographically accurate. And one of the things that I found really interesting about doing this is how the terrain changes as you travel, which is, you know, yes, of course it's going to, but to actually see it as you fly around, for example, flying down through Canada, crossing Greenland, you know, it's quite incredible to see how it does change. And I can only begin to imagine what it must be like for the team as they're doing this in the real world, and the sights that they're seeing and the experiences that they're having must be absolutely incredible. Aviation is a beautiful thing, it really is. Quick check on everything, make sure nothing's being silly. Birmingham just over there. So, just been to the flight sim show at Gosford for the first time. Absolutely incredible. If you haven't been, can heartily recommend it for next year. Great show. It's just great meeting the people. Too many people to mention here, but really good to meet some people who I've met virtually doing multiplayer flying and that kind of thing, and to actually meet them in the flesh. And just other people as well in the community. We really do have a fantastic community here. People collaborating, people sharing information, coming up with ideas. Yeah, great community. And it was really good to see that. So yeah, if you haven't been, give it a try. And there's a cool museum there as well. I assume that they're going to do it at Gosford again next year, but if that's where they do it, it's well worth a look. Only problem is, if you're anything like me, you come away planning a huge expenditure on hardware, but there you go. Yeah, temperature's come down nicely now. So we're just doing a nice cruise. We've got boost at +2, we've got our RPM down to 2000. Nice relaxed cruise, not too hot on the aircraft. One of the things that is a great feature of these A2A Accusim aircraft, if you've never seen them, is that it's a persistent state aircraft, and all sorts of damage, wear, tear is modelled. And what I'm trying to do, seeing as this old Gertie's got to get me around the world, is to treat her as gently as I can, not doing anything too stupid. So she gets us there in one piece. And touch wood, so far everything's gone quite well. She's in good shape. Not had to replace anything. Yeah, I've just got to jinxed it now, haven't I? Now over there is Pawtucket. I think that might actually be Providence, where we're seeing the buildings. Might be wrong. And Cranston somewhere over there as well, which... is that where the US Office TV show is based, or am I getting that wrong? Sounds kind of familiar. Weather getting slightly more overcast here. Keeping it quite low anyway. Nice bit of blue sky there. Hitting the cloud almost. We're sightseeing, we don't want any cloud. There you go. That's obviously new weather injected there, and suddenly it's got a whole lot better. That's strange, but welcome. quite sure why the weather changed so suddenly there, but it did. Slightly unrealistic sticking head out of cockpit there, but I'm just trying to see what's behind me. Yeah. Note to self, might want to check my weather settings just in case the not set to change often enough. That could be one possibility, that I've got my loading interval set too far apart and that's caused that sudden change. Not really seen that happen before. Check, temp's good, nothing untoward there. Just trimmed out relatively nicely. So there it was, trying to get some good outside shots, and we slammed right into some bad weather, so I'm just taking it down. Need to stay out of this, but as you can see, we've got rain, we've got low cloud. Let's get below the cloud so we can keep inside of the ground. This is low. An interesting effect. The indicated wind that I'm seeing is only about 4 knots, but the buffeting is quite interesting. As you can see, you can probably tell how much we're getting thrown around a bit. Okay, the cloud just cleared. Go for some height. I think this is what makes doing this kind of flying interesting, actually, is that you know, when you hit weather like this, it makes flying a lot more interesting. It's worthwhile getting hold of something like Active Sky because it does spice things up a bit for you. And as you can see, we are getting thrown around quite a bit. And that's why, because it's a storm. Okay, let us get away from here. We do not want to fly through a storm. Is this really the weather they had on the day? Okay, we're going to see if we can skirt around this. Well, this just got a whole lot more interesting. That was close. Yeah, there it is. This is why it's always good to check the weather, folks. Because I set the same day as when the guys had gone, I didn't really pay too much attention to it because I thought I just want to have the same weather that they did, but I do wonder now if maybe I've got the wrong date or something isn't quite right. Now we're completely IMC. Let's get some power on. Let's get out of here. I can only imagine that I've got the wrong date. I was going off the date that there is a Twitter post for them flying over the Statue of Liberty, and it seemed to match the date on the route plan. But yeah, we're still getting bashed about quite a bit here. Certainly trying to do any kind of approach in a wind like this in the Spit would be interesting. Having said that, the wind's not too strong. It's only, what is it, right now it is 11 knots. Zoom in on the map a bit. There we go. Seems to have smoothed out a little bit now, has it? It's quite amazing that rain effect that you get on the canopy in the P3D A2A Spits, and pretty much most of their aircraft now. Actually, it might be wrong on some of them, but there we go. Smoothed out nicely now. And then there's a flash of lightning. I think that's behind us. Yeah, nasty clouds. let's head to the Hamptons. It's coming over Gardener's Island now. So my plan really in terms of videos with the Silver Spitfire route is to obviously not do the whole thing because that would bore you rigid, but to maybe pick and choose some of the legs that are especially interesting and make a video about those. New York was an obvious choice because it's been one of the sort of high points of the flight so far, I think. And there's been those iconic pictures on social media of the Silver Spitfire by the Statue of Liberty, or flying past it. So this was an obvious choice really, of course, notwithstanding the effect that we might end up with something more akin to a PowerPoint presentation when we get to New York, but we'll see. I apologise in advance if it goes wrong. So here we are now heading up to the Hamptons. And much smoother now. It was quite wobbly for a while back there. Could also be a time thing, of course. I set the weather for a particular date, but I don't know what time they flew, and maybe they flew later on in the day when the storm was gone. I mean, to be fair, Active Sky is pretty good at getting it right, so maybe something was happening that day. If you happen to be in that area and you can remember the weather on that day, stick something in the comments. It'd be really interesting to know. Hampton Airport over there. Slight pause there. Ooh, interesting. Something happened there. We suddenly had a sudden drop in frame rates as something changed. tweak some settings in the config file, which is always a recipe for disaster, really, isn't it? Let's get a bit more height so we get a slightly better view of the land. Now just touching the bottom of the cloud again, so let's just drop again. There we go, that's better. Southampton on the nose. Oh, the other thing I've got here is ORBX global HD buildings as well, so that's will change the appearance to make the buildings a little bit more high definition, but also more correct to the location. Just looking for someone with a swimming pool, but I haven't seen one yet. But I'm sure a lot of the houses around here have got swimming pools. Or is that just a stereotype? Do we just assume that the Hamptons is lots of big houses with swimming pools? It's a tennis court, I think. Okay. Quick look around. Temperature's risen slightly. Check my weather settings and I've actually got it to inject every 5 minutes, so very surprised that we had that sudden change back then. Not sure what that's about. If you've got any ideas, please feel free to put a comment in, I'd appreciate it. Gabreski. I don't know if it's Gabreski Airport or Gabreski Airfield. I'm just looking at the map. It just says Gabreski, so. But it looks pretty decent size. I'm also using global, pilots, ultimate next generation mesh. So we get some odd little things like that airfield is on a slight raised plateau because the airfield altitude is higher than the mesh, so you get odd little things like that, but we can live with that. I've seen worse. To see the radiator temperature a little bit lower than that. I'm just going to pop open the radiator flap a little bit. We're going at a pretty decent speed, we're not overstressing on the RPMs, our boost isn't really that high. Yeah, we'll just give her a bit more air to breathe there. Let's see what that could be over there in the distance. Oh, down we go. Where's it gone? I've lost it now. I can see what looked like skyscrapers, but that wasn't New York. Just in West Hampton now, we're just past it actually. There we've got Brookhaven. It was a power station. That's the cooling tower. I could just see it in the distance and could see something going on, wasn't sure what it was. Coming up to Brookhaven here. This over here I think is a nature reserve. What's it say? Wilderness area. Interesting. The Spitfire really is a beautiful aircraft doing this kind of flying, because it will just go where you want it to go. It's got plenty of power. It's quick. It's a joy to fly. later slightly. Some interesting objects coming up here. Let's zoom in on the map and see what it says. Factories. Not seeing any sign of New York yet. That's Long Island, MacArthur over there in the distance. Right next to us here we've got a little old Bayport. Nice little strip. Fly into there in your Comanche and then head off to your house and sit by the pool. That's what I do every day. Slight bit of buffeting on 11 knot wind coming from 224. Looks like it might be clearing up a bit ahead. Let's just bring it round a bit so I can get a better view. Just waiting any minute as soon as New York starts getting drawn in. That's when the FPS will get very interesting. Something, yeah, started now I think. This is Accusim State Park we're flying over now. If I pronounced that wrong, I do apologise. My track record with pronunciations probably isn't that good. Aha! Now, if there is a certain gentleman by the name of Ratty watching this, bridge, because I'm being sensible, I'm not going to attempt it. I don't want to prang my silver Spitfire just before we get to New York. That would be very ungentlemanly. She wouldn't be ungentlemanly, she'd just be damn stupid. But the temptation's there, Ratty, trust me. The temptation is there. If anyone has watched the old drama series Piece of Cake, you know what I'm talking about. Republic. Republic, that's all it says. Republic. Kilo Foxtrot Romeo Golf. Could be Republic Airport, Republic Airfield. We'll never know. That's interesting. What on earth is that? It's the great thing about having scenery like this and a sim like this is just the ability to explore. See something that catches your eye and you go and take a look. In this case it's not that exciting, but just a cluster of some houses there on the edge. It would be an interesting place to live. And this is, can I read that? Gilgo State Park. This is when we start to enter the FPS danger zone. Shortly up here we're going to be taking a right turn onto 297 and heading to New York. There's a fair bit of autogen being drawn in there and it's not too bad at the moment. Let's take a quick measurement. 20, that's not bad. I have it locked at 30 and it's 29.8. Let's have a look over here. 20, yeah, so that's not bad. Happy with that. Could be worse. Quick check, everything's good. Let's close the radiator a bit now. Over there, can't really see it much at the moment, is Kennedy International. We are literally going to overfly Kennedy International. This is when it gets interesting. I'm really excited about this. As I said earlier, I've never taken Spitfire to New York. I've flown from Boston to Nantucket Island to have a look at the ORBX scenery that Bill Womack did, and it's beautiful. If you haven't got it, have a look. Fantastic scenery. You can see now it is definitely drawing in more. It's got a nice anvil cloud over there. Still some storms around, not seeing any lightning strikes. There's New York, it just drew in. That pause there that you probably saw was New York being drawn in. Look at that. This is so cool. So cool that I missed my turning. Right, 297. I cannot help but be really excited about this. We are going to New York in the Spitfire. I've flown it from Goodwood to Lossiemouth, and then Lossiemouth to the Faroe Islands, and then to Iceland, and then to Greenland, and then over to Canada, and then down through Canada, down to Boston, and here we are about to fly to New York. Crazy, all in a simulator. This is the kind of stuff you can do. Air traffic control now wondering what the hell this little Spit is doing, heading straight towards one of the busiest airports in the world. Of course, the real silver Spitfire would have had to have contended with real world traffic situations, which we're not doing here, which might be a little bit unrealistic. I am going to get into Accusim at some point. Bit of a pause there, something else got drawn in. Hello Kennedy International. So this is what Kennedy International looks like in ORBX. This isn't an add-on or anything like this. Looks pretty good though. When I say an add-on, I mean an add-on that isn't ORBX. Of course it's an add-on because it's ORBX, but interesting though. Pretty detailed. Right, so here we go, look at that. Wow. I've got to say I'm impressed at the moment that the FPS is what it is. 20... yeah, sort of going all over the place at the moment, but that's not bad. I do have very high settings on. I did think about dialing them back, and then I thought, what the hell, which I'm probably going to live to regret. So we are not far now. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, don't worry, that's it. That's all you're gonna get. There's the Statue of Liberty. Well, I've got to say, this is alright. And there's a storm right over there, just where we're going. Considering what the simulator is having to draw in, it's not doing too badly, it's doing a lot better than I thought. Oh, bit of a stutter there. Getting bumped around a bit now, which is not ideal. God, isn't that beautiful? As silly as it sounds, because this is only in a simulator, I'm sitting at home in a room, it's actually almost a little bit emotional, this. Because I've flown here in a simulator all the way from Goodwood in England, and there's New York. Look at that. Jersey City. This is quite incredible. I guess for you watching this it might be a little bit jerky with the FPS and that sort of thing, and not quite the same, but when you're actually in it, it's quite something. Central Park. That's insane. King Kong today. Beautiful. Okay. I'm pleased to see that we seem to be avoiding the storm. So now we go on to 291 and head to Essex County. We're going to cross over Teterborough, and I seem to remember that was one of the original destinations, but they didn't end up going there, I don't think. Nice look at New York. Let's concentrate, looking at 291. amazing. Oh, hello. Nearly. Yeah, I caught it off guard then by looking back. What's the FPS at the moment? $21.18, 26. Okay. So we have not got far to run now at all. We've probably only got about 12 nautical miles before we get to Essex County, and then that's the end of our journey. There's some sneaky lightning over there. Another handful cloud there. Definitely a day for dodging the storms. There we have Essex County. So we have got a wind of 13 knots coming from 238. So we are going to take 22. There we go. That's where we're heading. So let's get ourselves into landing mode. That's 2-2. Wind's moving around quite a bit actually, so this could be quite interesting. Okay, mixture rich, prop fully forward, fine. Open the radiator, seeing as we're running a little bit hot. Start bleeding off some speed. Not too much. There's our runway. Down. Coming in a little bit high. Let's drop some flap. React to that. Trim. Power. Buffed it around a bit now. Losing sight of the runway under that long nose. The best. Let's flap up. Certainly an interesting landing. But we're down in one piece. Yeah, that was probably left that a little bit too close. Probably possibly a little bit too high, not really respecting the fact that there was some gusty winds going on. I had to make some last minute corrections, which I wouldn't really like to do with that kind of magnitude, but we got down. Okay, parking brake on, fuel off. Ooh, I caught that, accidentally took the parking brake off. Get ready to pull this dooley. That temperature. There it goes. Grab the ring. Right. Turn everything off. Slight hardware issue then with the throttle. It kind of jammed almost a quarter of the way open there, which is strange. But that's now done. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining me. That was a interesting trip over to New York, and I will see you very soon.